You're listening to Keith Engle, the host of TGI Sports Talk on the National Streaming Sports Roku channel.
Football season is here, and SeatGeek is my go-to for buying tickets. Now with SeatGeek, every single ticket is backed with their buyer guarantee. We've all had plans change, and when you can't make it to the big game, SeatGeek has you covered. They're the only ticketer that allows you to return your tickets ahead of the event for credit with SeatGeek swaps. So when things come up, I know that my tickets won't go to waste. So what are you waiting for? Download the SeatGeek app to maximize your possibilities and shop live events with confidence.
Good morning, everybody. Keith Engle here with TGI Sports Talk Sunday Stream of Consciousness. We are so happy to have you with us. It's a beautiful day in the Northeast here. Another nice January day. God, it's been awful, but it's April. It's don't get excited, guys. I do this every year. We're all bitch about the weather. We can't do anything about it, and then it's April. Get a lot of bad weather in April. Anyway, I want to welcome everybody watching today on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. We should be on the now live on the National Streaming Sports Roku channel, but I don't see that we are yet. We've had this issue a couple weeks in a row. I don't know if we're overlapping again with Jack. And Jack, we hope you're doing better on Northeast Streaming Sports. Jack's been off the air for a little bit. Sonia's been filling in with his hosting duties, and she's done a fine job with that. And we hope Jack is getting better and back soon. But I don't know if we could be overlapping and not starting because Jack wasn't doing that, or Mac wasn't showing that show live, and ours should be live for 2 hours. So we'll see. I'll keep an eye on it and maybe try to restart it here in just a little bit. But also thank you to the groups that allow me to share. John Gonzalez at the Sports Authorities, Greg Rawlings at America's Pastime, the Love for Baseball. Flo and the gang over at Bottom Line Sports. Flo's deployed somewhere overseas, we'll say. It's top secret stuff, so he wasn't able to let us know where he was, but we hope he's safe, and we thank him for his service. Flo and the gang also broadcast their podcast on Let's Talk Sports. So thank you and we also are allowed to reshare our information. We don't go live there, but we do reshare our all our shows. DDH thumbs up. Dan Harris started that network. Tanner D has done a great job of continuing it. Lots of great content over there as well as there is on National Streaming Sports. Who else? Ken Krause, Golf Bud, sports of all sorts. We're going to talk some golf. At least I am today. What else? I guess that's it for the moment. We'll talk some about the 101. We're a little on a hiatus a little bit on the 101 with Keith Engle interview piece. We've been playing some encores pieces because I've been so busy at work as we wind down. I dropped my countdown clock on the floor. I think it's 137 days. I'm not sure. Maybe it's less than 100 actual work days, probably 90-ish. So we've been very busy, very, very busy. Anyway, we'll get back into the swing there at some point, but we'll replay the some of our more recent interviews in the meantime. Today we're going to talk about lots of stuff. I'm going to start with the Masters, and it's your show. We're going to talk about what you want. I'm just going to feed you, and I'll get into the comments here in just a little bit. You guys drive this show, you know that. The Masters has been a very, very compelling Masters this year. Couple of things I want to point out before I get into the big stuff. Bernhard Langer played his last Masters, won 2. Class player. I don't remember a classier player in the history of maybe some as classy, but no classier player than Bernhard Langer in his career. Won 2 Masters. Didn't make the cut. He and Freddie Couples, who I always root for in the Masters as well, both failed. The live players failing right and left, although DeChambeau is competing for the lead. I think half the players in the field that play for live didn't make the cut. Sorry. Good. The leaderboard today, we had the Angel Cabrera situation. He served 2 or almost 3 years in prison for domestic abuse. And you know how I feel about this topic. And I liked Angel Cabrera. He's a former Masters champion, but he was allowed to play. A lot of uproar about that. But today we've got heavyweights. We got a heavyweight fight for this title. The last group out today will be Rory, 12 under. DeChambeau is 8 under, I believe. Is that right? And we'll get to some other stuff. We aren't going to just talk about golf, I promise you. I lost my leaderboard here for a second. Oh, there it is. I'm sorry, he's 10 under. I don't know why I thought he was 8 under. He's 10 under, but we got a bunch of guys. There's probably, I'm going to give you all the way down to Scotty Scheffler, maybe even Justin Rose still in play. They're within 7 shots. Sean Lowry's within 7 shots. You got Connors, virtually an unknown. Patrick Reed, everybody's favorite cheater on the PGA. Aberg, who I love to watch play because he plays fast. Justin Day kind of rebounding his career a bit. Scotty Scheffler has been up and down, only played even golf yesterday. Justin Rose blew up yesterday with +3. Rory shot 6 under yesterday. Zach Johnson shot 6 under yesterday. He's going to need at least that to get in play today, and then hope Rory and DeChambeau both falter. That's not going to happen. They're both not going to falter. But some great stories out there on the golf course, and it's been great coverage. A lot of chatter the first 2 days in the coverage from. You can watch all the holes now. It's different than years ago where you'd only see the back 9 on Saturday and Sunday. You can watch every hole played all 4 days, and there was hardly any coverage of DeChambeau the first 2 days. It was very interesting. Yesterday, obviously, he got plenty of coverage. Elsewhere, Major League Baseball, we'll talk about some stuff. The Yankees win yesterday. Clark Schmidt coming back. Injuries still proliferating Major League Baseball. Ben Rice has been on fire. Clark Schmidt will be back this week, as I said. Will Warren pitched pretty good yesterday, I thought, in some horrible conditions. But good for them. Angels surprise. West playing great. Dodgers get hammered yesterday at home. Their worst shutout defeat ever. And lots of other stuff we can talk about. The NFL, we've still got the Rodgers ridiculousness. Pat McAfee had a big event in Pittsburgh last week where everybody thought Rodgers would be there. They had all kinds of stars, Jelly Roll, Snoop Dogg, and many, many others. 12,000 people showed up, and they thought Rodgers was going to be there to make his announcement, and he did not. I think he thinks he's got leverage, and he doesn't, by the way. We could talk about the draft. I mean, look at Shedeur Sanders has really become the story of this draft. He could go anywhere from 2 to 31. I saw some numbers on some guys who have the biggest ranges. He's got the big. If he doesn't go to the Browns, I'm telling you, he will get picked 21 by the Steelers. There's some other stuff we can talk about. Joe Milton getting traded. Why is that a big deal? I don't understand why people think Joe Milton is a big deal. Joe Milton was becoming a problem for the Patriots in the locker room, or they were heading off a problem in the locker room, and that's why he's been moved. Flacco is back. Maybe they should have waited for him to nap on his couch till midseason, but Flacco's back with the Browns. The NBA, big stories. Michael, sorry, don't call me Mike. Michael Malone fired with 3 games left in the regular season by the Nuggets. Ugly situation there, apparently. But is it good to fire a coach with 3 games left? The Grizzlies did it the week before. First time in NBA history this has happened. Guys have gotten fired with 3 games left, but they were usually losers. Knicks are locked in. They've lost 3 in a row. They're locked into the Pistons in round 1. I feel like it's a bad matchup because Cade Cunningham has blistered them the entire season. I think he's averaged a triple-double or close to it for the season. I think OKC could be vulnerable in the West. I don't want to take anything away from them, but great regular season. But the West is deep. Jokic, we've talked a lot about him recently. 3rd player in history to average a triple-double. His teammate, Russell Westbrook, is one of them. And the big O, Oscar Robertson, one of the great players in the history of the game, is the other. Great job there. College football, Nico Imoliva holds out, first public holdout in NIL. By the way, stop saying NIL. It's not name, image, and likeness. This is pay for play, and it's no illusions about it. We've had guys hold out and go to other schools for more money. That's apparent. Never has it happened publicly until this weekend, where just before the spring game, he stopped showing up to meetings, stopped showing up to practice, and made it clear that he wanted to increase from $2 million to $4 million. He signed something before he came to Tennessee, which is why there was a lawsuit in the first place there with the NCAA for $8 million for 4 years. It's the Wild Wild West, guys. Something's got to change. And else in the college, we got Florida did win. Congratulations to Scott Kobe, wins both the men's and women's bracket challenges on TGI Sports Talk, repeating or copying what Rick Sherlock did last year, and Rick did finish second in both pools. So congratulations to you guys. I thought it was a very good defensive game or a bad offensive game, however you want to look at it in the final, but I thought it was interesting and fun. People getting on Kelvin Sampson for timeouts. I can tell you, if you want to get on Kelvin Sampson, there's a place in this game where one was wasted and it wasn't by Kelvin Sampson, and it happens a lot. Hockey, Rangers out. Ovechkin breaks Gretzky's record. NCAA Frozen Four. Western Michigan wins their first national championship ever. Congratulations to them. They beat BU yesterday 6-2. Good for them. We said the Rangers are eliminated. The Bruins are eliminated, shockingly enough. The Islanders are out. You're going to see some big changes, I think, potentially in both the Rangers and Islander organizations. We can talk about that if you like. Masters, I talked about. It's your show. Let's go. I went too long. We got to get right to the comments because I'm going to fall way behind, aren't I? Dave Gayette, good morning. Big Yankee fan. Clark Schmidt back. Will Warren pitched well yesterday. Can the kids pick up this injured Yankee staff? Marcus Stroman goes on the DL. Rodon stinks, just like I said he would. He had a decent run during the regular season last year, imploded in the World Series, of course. I told you what this guy was. But anyway, we'll talk more about the Yankees as we go along. Ben Rice off to a great start, by the way. Not your conventional leadoff hitter, but doing a great job for the Yankees. Good morning, JB. The Orioles, don't panic. CA's with us. Blessed Sunday to you. His Stars getting ready for the NHL playoffs, which will start less than a week, probably. I think there's one NBA game left today. Everybody will play. 3 teams jockeying, I think, to stay out of the play-in tournament, if you will, whatever they want to call that, in the West. And I think that's really all that's going on there. The NHL's got 2 or 3 games left apiece. And we talked about the Rangers and their dire places. Good morning, Drew. We missed you on Friday, though now it appears to be a golf show. We did get into a little golf on. So let's have, listen, the Masters is one of the most important sporting events in this country. And if you're not a golfer, you wouldn't understand it. We had an interesting conversation about, we had an interesting conversation about Major League Baseball stadiums that compare to Augusta National. And there's very few to me that qualify because most of the old historic stadiums are gone. So I can't count Yankee Stadium. That's not new. So anyway, we did have fun. I hope you're doing better. Health issues. You should have led with that, by the way. I hope you're feeling better. Whatever it is. Graziano update interview was great. Yeah, I did replay that. It's one I did a while ago. It was very interesting, some of his take about a lot of angst about Dick McGuire and how Donnie Walsh helped his career. And if Donnie Walsh hadn't left the program, he would have potentially kept playing his career. He didn't play as much in his senior year, and as such wasn't drafted high, and ended up playing in Europe, which he was happy to do. He had a great experiences in Europe and South America, and he's given back as a teacher. So we had a lot of fun with Jim Graziano not on Friday, but it was replayed on Friday. JB's next interview with Stu Voigt. There you go, Rick. Rick, a big Viking fan. Stu Voigt, former tight end for the Vikings, a very good one. Good get, JB. I got to get back. I have not been able to spend time just trying to track people down. I just haven't had time. When I've got time, I'm too tired to do it. We'll get going now. Rick, good morning again. Congratulations on the runner-up finishes in both the bracket pools. Yankees lose Stroman. Yeah, I don't know how they'll notice. They'll notice by better pitching being done with him, and I'm hoping Rodon goes on a DLL, although I don't know who's going to pitch. Schmidt's coming back this week. I'm one of the few Yankee fans probably who think Clark Schmidt will continue to progress. He made progress last year. It takes some pitchers longer. I thought Will Warren was fairly impressive yesterday in 5 innings. I know the conditions weren't good, but anything is good. I think Will Warren pitched better than people want to give him credit for last year, too. AC, good evening, or good morning. AC had a birthday recently. Happy birthday to him. CA with his, let's see, we got fire. We got golf. We got baseball. I can't see that one. I don't know what that one is. Made of Taki. I don't know. Popcorn, 100% and love. Thank you. You're reading for DeChambeau. Why would we root for DeChambeau? I mean, again, I think he's become a little more likable. He's not a guy that, I mean, I look at him and I see a robot on the golf course. I usually root for Americans. First of all, DeChambeau's a live guy, and I will not root for any live guys, which hurts my heart because Phil Mickelson, at least in my later years, became my favorite golfer. Arnie, when I was a kid, was my favorite golfer. He was on the back end of his career. Phil's my favorite golfer. I can't root for him anymore. If you want to take blood money from the Saudis to go just, be able to play in your shorts and T-shirt, and competition is secondary because I'm getting, millions just to show up. I can't root for these guys. I mean, I think he's become a little bit likable. Plus, he's also the poster child for performance-enhancing drugs on the PGA Tour. Rory's in tip-top shape, but Rory's a fun guy to watch. Rory's had so much heartbreak. Similar to Phil. He's never won the Masters. He needs this for the career Grand Slam. There's nothing not to like about Rory McIlroy, in my mind. And his swing is the best in the game. And he came out blazing yesterday. Shot 6 under, but he shot birdie eagle first 2 holes yesterday. And Justin Rose just wilted in front of him. Chris Grave up at S Grave. F Graves, there's no S there. Up in the frozen tundra in Ottawa, Ontario, excuse me. It's still a wonder in the sports world that we have had 2 Heathcliff Slocum. It's a wonder to me that we had 1, but that's a good one. Heathcliff had his moments, at least the one I know. I did mention Western Michigan beating BC, full of drafted NHL players last night to take the Frozen Four national title. Congratulations, as I said to them, their first NCAA hockey championship. Great job from that team. The Frozen Four is always fun. The Frozen Four has been fun because we used to have a pretty good local presence. RPI, Rensselaer Poly what? It's an engineering school. RPI. Poly, can't think of the second one. Drew will help me out. Institute here in Troy. Was a NCAA, I want to say power, but they were relevant in the NCAA for a long time. They haven't been for a while. Then Union got better. Ned Harkness actually came in here decades ago and improved this program and then handed it off. And there's been some really good coaches there. And they have played and won an NCAA national championship at Union. So there's a lot of local ties here. Union's in Schenectady, New York. A lot of local ties here to NCAA hockey at the highest levels. And I'd like to see one or both of those teams get back to that level. Red Sox are beating up on the White Sox. Everybody beats up on the White Sox, don't they? What's happened this weekend? I really haven't paid attention to that. But they lost 2 in a row. What are you talking about? Oh, getting beat by the White Sox. I got you. I read it backwards. Yeah, the White Sox doubled their win total last 2 days, and the Red Sox continue their struggles. Look, a lot of teams struggle right now. The weather in the East and the Midwest is just god-awful. It's not baseball weather. I mean, it's not unusual. This happens. But, you gotta play with what you got. Spring football is starting. Tennessee did play their orange and white game yesterday without Nico Imaliva. Their $2 million or $8 million quarterback, however you want to look at it. He's leaving. Actually, he was told to leave. Tennessee said they were not going to negotiate with him, and he should go look for another deal. He's not part of this team anymore. What did Jace Apple say? No one is bigger than the team, including me. And 2 days before the spring game, Imaliva said, I want $4 million, not $2 million. Now, remember, before he even got there, in his recruitment process, he signed a deal for $8 million at over 4 years. So now we're renegotiating, which, by the way, I'm under no illusions. These kids have been renegotiating these deals year after year after year after year. That's why you see them go. There's still a lot of problems here. This is the first one that's really been played out in the public. And it really just shines a light. If you remember, guys, I admit when I'm wrong. I will crow a little bit when I'm right. Back in the days of the, what do we call the show with the Mad New Yorker? You got to be kidding me, or what do we call that? I don't even remember now. But we had these arguments on NIL all the time, and I was told I didn't understand it. It was simply for kids, once they got to school, to be able to use their name, image, and likeness in marketing campaigns for people that had nothing to do with the schools. And I said, you don't know what you're talking about. That's all a smokescreen. It's pay per play, plain and simple. This is 4 years ago. I said it then, and now it's clear in the last year. There's no name, image, and likeness. It was never supposed to be used in recruiting. It's been used in recruiting all along. Now it's legal, or will be, once this case is finalized, the NCAA case that involves Tennessee and Nico Imaliva. He was the guy who his signing really prompted this lawsuit. You're now going to be able to use it as a recruiting inducement, which they used all along. There's no more illusions. I almost want to go back to the days where everything was done in a back alley and under a frickin' table. This is nonsense. These kids can just up and leave. In the NFL, you can hold out. But you got a contract, and at the end of the day, you're not going anywhere unless I move you. Not in the NCAA or football or basketball, excuse me. You're just a free agent every year. And the tampering that's going on, there's nothing to stop the tampering. And you can't believe it's not going on because similar to NFL free agency, which again, you have to reach. You don't have it every year. In NCAA basketball and football, and there's a new portal opening up in less than 10 days, by the way. Imaliva will go find a new job. Yes, I said job. I forgot where I was going with this. I got myself on a tear and I lost my train of thought. You can be a free agent every year. And by the way, that's where I was going, the tampering. The minute the portal opens, hundreds of kids move to a new school. You made up a decision in 6 hours, 2 hours. No, these kids are getting talked to all through the year. The coaches are negotiating for new jobs all year. So anyway, yeah, spring football is back. And a lot of schools, by the way, and we'll get into this more in the college football huddle the next couple of weeks before we take a hiatus. A lot of schools are doing away with the spring game because they don't want to showcase their players, because the spring games happen right before this spring portal opens. A week, 2 weeks at max, sometimes days before the portal opens. And they don't want to They don't want to showcase their players to be able to move. Jeez Christ. So, yeah, you'll still see some, but many teams have done away with them. Chris, I'm sorry, Drew's going to pull a Chris. Kyren Paris, an undrafted rookie by the Angels, who are playing really good baseball, by the way, 9-4 now. They started off well last year, so I'm not getting excited. Is replacing Zach Neto until he comes back from injury, who I like a lot. He's hitting 400 with a 914 OPS, 1 double, 1 triple, 5 home runs. Nice. Pick him up on your fantasy team because Neto will come back and he's going to win that job back. So, but listen, congrats to the Angels. The Angels are a big surprise in the West, leading the West. Astros off to a bit of a slow start, but to be expected. Biggest surprise to me might be the NL West and the fact that, listen, it's early. I'm not worried about the Dodgers. The Dodgers are going to win over 110 games probably. But the Padres are leading that division, 1-3 in a row. They're 12-3, best record in baseball. Giants are right there. Dodgers are in third. The Diamondbacks hanging in at fourth. Only the Rockies are going to hold that team back, or that division back. JB, I think we posted it here before, but JB, if you can post the link to your podcast, and Rick can check out that interview with Stu, I'd appreciate it. And we'll give you a little pub as well. You opine about the halls should be more than numbers. I agree. Does Chuck Foreman belong in the Hall of Fame? You're goddamn right he does. I say that, JB, because that's what Chuck Foreman told me when I interviewed him and asked him the very same question, because he doesn't understand. I had a great interview with Chuck Foreman, one of my favorites. I know Rick enjoyed it because he's one of Rick's favorites. Look at Chuck Foreman changed the game. He was a fullback. He's catching the ball out of the backfield, which backs weren't doing that much, not with the regularity that he did. Very productive runner. He was their offense. Him and Fran Tarkenton were their offense. And he was playing at a time when a lot of backs weren't, playing as long as they do today. In some cases, not every case. Still, the average is pretty low. But that also takes into guys who come in and play one game and wash out because they stink. Chuck Foreman was a transitional player. He changed the way the game was played, and he belongs in a Hall of Fame without a doubt. And guess what? So does Chuck think that. When I asked him the question, he said, "You're goddamn right I do." I call it my a few good men moment. Had a lot of fun. Get Chuck on. You'll enjoy conversing with him. He's a very bright guy. Also, a University of Miami grad, by the way. And tell him I said hi. CA says, however, after last year, we planned better. We'll be out of Texas before May, and I'd be shocked if the Jets don't win it this season. Listen, I've been fooled by the Jets twice now in 2 years, so I probably will not pick the Jets. I don't know. It's a long ways till September. I probably won't pick the Jets. I like the Fields acquisition for the Jets, quite frankly. I know John Gonzalez, if you're with us, I don't know. John's gets a lot of information from a lot of people around New York City, especially around MetLife. I'm sure he's got some plug in with some NFL front office types, I guess. A lot of people think Shooter Sanders will go to the Jets. I don't. I think they've got a quarterback. They may take a quarterback later, but I think they've got a quarterback that can make this team go. I would look for them to take a wide receiver somewhere early, whether it's a first round, second round, trading into the back of the first round to get one of the guys that are there. Golden's really good. Burden III's really good. McMillan's really good. There's a couple others too, and I would think they're going to add a wide receiver to this team and some offensive line help. So I don't know that I'm going to pick them now. It burned me twice. I've had them in the playoffs. I had them win the Super Bowl 2 years ago. We all got blood money in the gas tank or the shoes on our feet or the electrics. Yeah, but I have to do that. I'm not buying electronics from the Saudis, by the way. And I'm speaking specifically about the Saudis. Anybody on Live takes blood money. I have to take blood money. By the way, I shouldn't have to take blood money because we could be energy independent here and we shouldn't have to buy oil to produce gasoline from the Saudis or anybody else who's, committing human rights violations all over the place. I listen to people frickin' talk about the Israelis committing atrocities, but we don't have any problem with what some of these Muslim, including Hamas and the state terrorist backing states like Iran and the Saudis. So again, I have no choice but to put that money in that stuff in my gas tank. By the way, I pay very close attention to where I buy my shoes, and electronics and those things don't come from the Middle East and from Saudi Arabia. So again, you're entitled to your opinion, AC. Certainly, everybody on this show is. We disagree. I disagree with you and everybody a lot, probably more than I think. Maybe not as much as I think. I don't know, but that's just me. I have a very hard time with this whole Live thing. That country was involved with the worst day in this country's history. And I'm not going to support them in any way, shape, or form. I have not watched one Live golf tournament, and I won't. And I will not support one Live golfer. That's it. I'm not making it about anything except the Saudis and that blood money. And again, the gas tank is not a great situation. I think maybe, the shoes and the electronics I get, some of that we get from China. It's not the same situation, by the way. They may be committing atrocities. I'm talking about atrocities committed against us. I don't know how those guys sleep at night, quite frankly. Hello, Paul Spada. Our Wisconsin fan, I'm a Wisconsin native, our Wisconsin resident who's an Oregon fan, a Boston fan. Paul's all over the place. Good morning. Tip, there's that picture of Tip. I hope you're with me, Tip. So if you guys are Yellowstone fans, tell me Tip doesn't look like Rip in this picture. You can see his profile picture there. Looks just like Rip. Well, not perfect like Rip, but he looks just like Rip. Believe me, it's a compliment. Tip, I promise you. Watch Tip's stuff too. The Tipping Point with Michael Tipton. Mike, I don't know if I never called you anything but Tip. So if you go by Michael, I apologize. I did this to Mike Malone and I got ripped. It's Michael. Anyway, Tip does some great stuff on the Tipping Point. I was watching his show the other day as I had a few minutes during the day. He's on at 10 o'clock on the Roku channel and I believe on YouTube is where I caught his show as well. I don't know that there's a live broadcast on Facebook, but Tip, you can speak to that. Promote yourself, my friend. Good morning, Paul Yain. I'm glad you told him. I'm glad they told him to tell. What? Are we talking about the kid who peed in Race Creek? I'm not sure what we're talking about there. Help me out. I speak, Paul, but I'm having trouble with that one. Oh, I'm glad they told him to take a leap. Who? Who are we talking about? I talk about so much stuff. Happy birthday to Edwin Cabrera, just back from the DL in Major League Baseball. Lorenzo Cain, underrated outfielder in his day with Kansas City. Hunter Pence played right here in Amsterdam, New York, when he played for the Mohawks when he was in college. Also played at the Joe, Tri-City Valley Cats, when they were affiliated with the Astros. Steve Pearce, interesting left-handed bat, had some good years with the Red Sox, I think, right? Maybe the Orioles. Steve Pearce had a couple good years. Good left-handed hitter, not much of a fielder, didn't have position, but he had a couple good years. Ricardo Rincon, a guy who never seemed to reach his potential. Doug Strange, remember his name. Mark Leiter, excuse me. His son now pitching with the Yankees. John Stevenson, catcher. And household names, Roxy Lawson, I'm going to guess from A League of Their Own. I'm not sure. Biff Wysong, who was one of the characters in Back to the Future. I'm probably wrong there. I'm making up my own biographies. Dewey Creasy, and obviously not, I have no idea about that one. I can't make anything up. And obviously not Irish. Patsy O'Rourke. Good ones. Our Tigers picking the ALC after 14 games. Everything looks prescient. You just put that word in to see if I'd say it right. Tigers are playing good. We talked about them on Friday quite a bit. Listen, it's a team I like. I think they got some young guys. They got a good mixture of young guys and some veterans. Spencer Torkelson making a nice rebound. We talked about him on Friday. I know Chris felt that he was a guy that was rushed to the majors too early. And I guess when you look at it from his overall development, maybe he was. He did have a good year his second, or maybe it was his rookie year. I think he'd use up his rookie eligibility and part-time play the year before, but he had 31 homers with almost 100 RBIs that second season, but not much average. So I guess we could call it that. A lot of guys get rushed today. They go back and they come back and play with a better feel for the game, if you will. The only thing that might hold the Tigers back will be, who running the bases and playing second base. Or no, where's Glaber playing? Glaber, my boy Colt Keith is at second base. Glaber must be DHing, right? I'm not even sure what they're doing with him. Angels on top of the West with 9-5 record. Vegas is taking bets on the date of the crumbling will commence. Last year was right about now, as we head towards the back half of April. I remember the Angels last year having a clubhouse meeting when they started like 0-2 or 0. It was only after 2 games, and they went on a streak and they played well for a couple of weeks, 10 days, a couple of weeks. And they just crashed and burned. Now, can this team, we talked about it. We talked about it Friday. Mike Trout stays healthy. Neto comes back. Maybe the kid you talked about, Drew, finds a position or he becomes, a super utility guy. Then maybe this team will continue to surprise. I don't think so. The division's too strong. The Mariners are really good. The Astros will be okay. Mariners got to score runs. That's a great pitching staff. It's got some injury issues right now, but they're starting to play better ball now. The Rangers, they've lost a couple in a row, but they're 9-6, and so far DeGrom hasn't got hurt. He's pitching like every 10 days or something. I don't know what their schedule is. But yes, so far, so good. EC says they need to change it so nobody gets paid to play. I think we're still talking about. I guess we're still talking. Now we're talking about Nico. That's not going to change, though. They need to change it so nobody gets paid to play. That the ship has sailed. They're never going backwards. AC, I don't disagree with you. Amateurism is gone. It's dead. There's no such thing anymore. They need to just let them do commercials and use social media to make money on their own. This is what the Mad New Yorker, and I hope he shows up today. This is what he told me 4 years ago when NIL started, and I said it's going to be the ruination of college football because it's pay for play. And it will be used to recruit kids for school, which it was supposed to not do. And that's what it does. If it was just them coming in and they could sell their name, image, and likeness to do commercials and use on social media and make their own money, I'd be all for it. But that's not what happened. And all it did was make the below the table deals that were happening anyway legal. If a kid can make money on their own in college, they should be able to, fine, but the fake contract needs to stop. Well, they're not fake. They're real. Well, we don't hold them to them. Nico came there with an agreement to be there for 4 years and get $8 million. He stayed 1 year, and not a very good year. Sorry, he threw like 16 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. I could be off a little bit. I don't think I am. And 11 of those touchdowns were against like 2 below FBS 1 schools and one of the lower ranked NCAA teams. I think Nico's going to find out because Tennessee just said bye. This wasn't even him. Nico was holding out for more money. He wanted to stay at Tennessee. And God bless him. God bless Josh Heupel and Tennessee. They said, sorry, Nico. Nobody's bigger than the team. His exact words. Now, do I think, this shows great integrity on the Tennessee Volunteers side? Probably not. But this is going on behind the scenes. There's kids renegotiating their contracts every single year. They just didn't go public. They didn't hold out. They said, I want more money. The school said no, and they left. Listen, this was bound to happen, and there's no illusion. And by the way, again, AC, I don't disagree with your take here that we should go back because, again, it's not changed to nobody gets paid for play. Theoretically, nobody got paid before we had these rules in place. At least then only the great players got paid, and they got paid illegally, and we looked the other way. If you got caught, you went on probation, and that was the end of it. If you got caught enough, you got the death penalty like SMU did. But it's just, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. They'll never go back. At least not before the sport is nothing like we won't even recognize it. I'm going to talk more about this on Wednesday night, I promise you. And listen, I've gone right back into my negative Nelly college sports persona. I said when the game started last fall, I would put it to bed and I wouldn't bitch about it. And I barely did, here and there. But now we're back in the off season and the freaking mud gets deeper and deeper and deeper. Nobody wants to play against an NL West. Well, everybody wants to play Colorado, right? Do we even count them as a member of the NL East now? I mean, I get on the Marlins, right? And we talk about the White Sox, but the White Sox will come back. They've tried to win through the years. It isn't like the Colorado Rockies never seem to have a plan to try to win. Does it even feel like this organization is trying to win? And I'm not going to blame the fans because I think they've drawn pretty good. At least they did the first, half of their existence. And they were actually trying to put a plan together to build a franchise and win. They actually made the playoffs when Don Baylor was the manager there. They went to a World Series 10 years ago, whatever. It might be longer now. It's probably 15. Clint Hurdle was the manager. We're working hard to get Clint Hurdle on the one-on-one show, by the way. Clint's promised to come on. He's running around a lot. He's got a new book out, Hurdleisms. It's really good, by the way. I bought it on my Kindle. It's really just short little. He does a little spot every day, with his words of the day. It's really pretty cool. I know I'm starting to fall behind here. So, yeah, nobody wants to play Colorado. Everybody wants to play Colorado. Sorry. Paul, a few years ago, I went back into college football, liking it and watching it. But now with all this portal stuff, I don't know. I don't like it as much. Here's where my take is on that. And I've said this all along. As long as I can separate the two, and I'm sorry, it's the business side, the portal, the NIL, all this nonsense, the part that's not amateur sports. I said, as long as I feel excited on Saturdays because the excitement on Saturday, this is where they're going to lose, by the way, in the long haul. The excitement on Saturday was so much different. It was palpable, the difference between Saturday excitement, watching college football games, the energy at the stadiums on site. So much better than Sundays. So much better than Sundays. I can't explain it to people who don't want to watch college football. The difference is amazing. As long as I feel that difference, Paul, I'll stay in the game. I haven't jumped. I haven't given up on the game. But I said Wednesday night, if this continues and I lose that enthusiasm for the actual, when the season started, I put all that aside and I focused on the stories, the playoff, the good things that were going on in college sports and the games themselves, and put this other stuff to bed. But every offseason, the mud gets deeper. And I said, if this continues and I can't generate that excitement, there won't be a college football huddle anymore, a college sports huddle. It'll be gone. I'm not doing that show and talking about college sports. I'll talk about college sports here and rip them like I am today and did last week on the college football huddle and will this coming week. It's your podcast portal. That's awesome. Let's test it, JB. I'm going to call Mac. JB, you do some great stuff, by the way. If I were you, I would start doing, if I'm not mistaken, and sure, tell me if I'm wrong, I forget. I think you got to look up Mac at the National Streaming Sports. She'd be a great addition to the lineup there. CA Rory, number 2 was impressive. Prime drive location and induced his. By the way, his. Let me finish your comment here. Induced his choice to fire at the hole on a Saturday location and overshooting chipped in anyway. Great play. His birdie on. I'm sorry, his eagle on 11th. Was even more phenomenal. I mean, he knocked the ball stiff like 4 feet, 5 feet. Maybe it was 6 feet. I don't know. But drains the putt. Rory feels it. You watch him hit that shot. Another big drive, by the way, which is like Corey. And these guys are all hitters. Listen, Bryson hits the ball a ton too, right? So you're going to see 2 guys really knocking the ball. And the guy who keeps it in the fairway today will probably win. But Roy's hitting it long. He's hitting it straight for the most part. And that's why you're seeing 12 under after 3 rounds. I mean, he's playing Tiger-esque Masters golf. Back in the day, guys didn't, shoot 12 under to win this tournament, right? They shot 4 or 5 under was a really, really, really good score. But now, you remember Tiger just destroyed this course in 97 and a few years or several times after that because he was so long. Now everybody's long. Well, not everybody. But it's going to be a fun. Listen, this is going to be an exciting. I can't wait till they tee off. I don't have their tee time. Do I have their tee time in front of me here? Don't. See if I can get the tee time. What will be the stack leaderboard? I want to see what time they tee off because I can't find it quickly. I'm guessing they tee off about 2:20, something like that. The leaders. I'll be in front of the TV by then, and I will not be moving till 7:00. HR leaders include no surprises. Well, Judge surprises me a little bit given his April's the last few years. Schwarber, Trout. Trout's only hitting about 200, but he's had some good pop. Wilmer Flores, former Met, Tyler Soderstrom, and Basher Tommy Edman, who I picked up. Tommy Edman's a useful player. Tommy Edmonds was a wonderful addition to that Dodger team last year and a very smart retention this year. Tommy Edmonds can play 3-4 positions. played him adequately defensively, and he had some big hits. I like Tommy Edmonds' game a lot. Every team needs a guy like Tommy Edmonds. Every team. At least the Tommy Edmonds we saw last year and so far this year. Chris, 6'6", 248. This feels like the Dan Patrick show now. That's where all the callers. I don't know if you ever watched the Dan Patrick show. It's awesome. I don't even know where he broadcasts now. I don't know where his podcast gets done from, but callers I used to listen to his radio show years ago. It was awesome. He did one with Rob Dibble. He had a couple different partners through the years, but it was an awesome radio show and became a podcast, video cast. And every caller calls in with their height and weight. Nikita Zadarov leading the charge in NHL penalty minutes with 139. That feels like a very low number, right? We don't get the Dave Schultz of the world with 500 a year. I don't even know what the record is. What is the record, Chris? Find it for me. Is it 500? I think he's talking Jets hockey. Winnipeg Jets. Oh, Winnipeg Jets. Sorry, what did I say? What did you bring up there? My bad. I should have known that. Yeah, so my bad for jumping the gun on the Jets. Dallas has been trying to chase down the Stars. Not going to happen. I think there's only, 3 games to play? CA 76, 2 games to play for the Jets. 2 games to play for the Stars. They're going to finish 5 in a row you guys have lost in Dallas. Not great momentum heading into the playoffs, but an excellent regular season nonetheless. Jets are playing good hockey, though. Thank you, CA. It's just me, I've had this issue from the very beginning with these guys. I understand, you want to take care of your family. These guys are making, what they make? The guys who just make the cut are making millions every freaking week. Not millions. I shouldn't say that. But every top 10, 20 finisher, everybody in the Masters gets $10,000 just for showing up. You don't make the cut. They're going to make big money at the top of this tournament. Everybody who made the cut today is going to make a decent dollar. They don't need blood money and just get paid to show up. That's my biggest problem. They avoid competition. They can make the money. You don't think Phil Mickelson can make the money? Well, maybe he can't. He did make the same type of money on a yearly basis that he's taken guaranteed over there. Same with the Deschambault and Koepka. So happy to see Brooks Koepka not make the cut. One of my least favorite golfers today. Bryson's won me over a little bit. If it wasn't for the live thing, I would give him a bigger break. I think his attitude and the way he's carried himself. He used to carry himself like he was king shit. And we're still not live on Roku, so I don't know what happened, guys. I'm going to try to put it back in there real quick. So give me 1 second while I try to do this. So I don't know what's going on with Roku lately. And with Mac not around, it's hard to kind of. Maybe we're live there now. I should have tried that a while ago. Sorry. So if anybody catching this late on Roku, or if you didn't catch it earlier, you can always come to Facebook and YouTube and find us, okay? As a rookie, Jacob Wilson is hitting .368 without a walk. That's good for today's game, is it? And only 2 Ks and 57 at bats. He makes Luis. All right. Arias. No, I'm not on. I'm off of Roku for whatever reason. He makes Luis Arias. I know I'll say his name wrong. Look like a walking machine. By the way, the Padres are playing well, so it may not happen. But the Padres fade. A lot of talk about him being traded again, and the possibility about him doing something nobody's ever done, and that's win 4 batting titles with 4 different teams. I mean, that's a big flaw. When you're a singles hitter, right, man? I mean, you got to hit to make yourself very valuable. You need to hit a really high average to make up for the lack of walk when you're not hitting with a lot of power. Paul is eclectic in sports. I would say that's a good call. I'm eclectic in life in general. My music tastes are eclectic. A big country fan, but I also love the 70s. I love Neil Diamond. I love Frank Sinatra. Books. I mean, I read true crime. I read autobiographies or biographies, however you want to look at it. I read fiction. I read nonfiction. The fiction I read, I can read science fiction. I can read murder mysteries. I read a lot of sports books, obviously. But I'll be reading 3 or 4 books at a time because I'll be in a mood for different things at different times. And people have always found that strange that I read 3 or 4 books at a time. Because I'll read, well, that's the same type of books. I'll read like a biography, a true crime, a sports book, and maybe a novel. I started this sci-fi series about a mission to Mars and colonizing Mars, and it's really cool. It's like a 6-book series. I've only read 1. I don't like the live thing, but it is what it is at this point. And DeChambeau sleeps on a mattress from Mattress Firm, so he sleeps all night long. Listen, I don't dislike him, as I said, as much as I used to. Oh, we're all over the place today. Bret the Hitman Hart rips on the current state of wrestling on the heels of WrestleMania 41 this weekend. I remember WrestleMania 1 so well. I was a wrestling fan then, and I just grew out of it. I mean, there's a lot of wrestling shows. I can't believe the number of wrestling podcasts. When I go kind of, searching through the web for podcasts to kind of check out and see what guys are doing and how I feel I compare to what other people are doing. There are so many podcasts for wrestling. It's amazing. Bret the Hitman Hart, that's a blast from the past. He was there when I was watching a lot of it. I'm not sure. College quarterback. I need more information. Was there somebody you threw out that I didn't know the name? If you do that, if you're correcting me or helping me with more information, please include the information you're trying to help me with, because now I'm lost again. Last group of birthdays played with high school and with Jack. Jack and I had a little, well, we often spar. We had a big disagreement, not a big disagreement, but a disagreement about, and again, I know we don't talk about the NBA a lot on this show, but I'm going to for a second. Where am I? 9:08? We're about 20 minutes behind. I mean, maybe I should pick it up a little. Not bad. I can catch up quickly if I have to. We talked about playoff and playoff experience mattering. And I think it's in all sports. I think having experience in the playoffs and successful experience is important. I think so in all sports. Some teams need to get to the playoffs and learn that whatever sport we're talking about, the intensity is turned up. In the NBA, 100%. I would say the intensity could be as much as 100% higher in the playoffs than it is in game 40 of the regular season. And I think it matters. And that's why I think, listen, as great a season as OKC has had this year, Alan, you with me? They're vulnerable out west. You got to be careful of the Lakers. Any team with LeBron and oh my God, isn't that terrible? You know what I'm talking about. Is going to be tough. Denver, if their new coach sparks them, Jokic and Jamal Murray's still a great second banana there. They could do some damage. The Warriors, I think they would do well to avoid the play-in round today. But I think that team could do some damage in the playoffs. The Clippers. And you could see a team come, maybe the Timberwolves or the Grizzlies get hot and make a move out of the West. And I think the Knicks, by the way, again, playoff experience could help the Knicks here. But I'm worried about this first round matchup with Detroit because Detroit's a good young team. Again, playoff experience could be a problem. They don't have a great second banana. I mean, the Knicks have obviously Brunson and Towns scoring 26 and 24 points a game or whatever. But the Knicks aren't playing good defense. And Cade Cunningham, one of the most underrated players, or at least talked about great players in the NBA, they has torched them this year. Torched them. Just did a week ago. I'm worried about the Knicks first round possibilities here. Their defense, and again, we talked about intensity picking up. Defense is often where that you see that intensity rise and increase. So hoping for the best for the Knicks. Among qualified hitters, MLB, Springer 400, Azuna, big home run the other day to help the Braves start to get right. Braves 4-10. Don't get nervous. They're 5 games out of first place. They're probably 2 games out of a playoff spot since 10 teams make it. I don't know how many teams make it. I just make up a number every time I talk about it. Judge leads with slugging. O'Neill Cruz, stolen base is 7. He's a big kid. He's running that well. Hall of Shame Fox Detroit investigative reporter Rick Wolchek went after an old-timer pretending to be Brandon Inge's father. Why would he do that? I didn't see this story. What was the reasoning? Why? What was he trying to gain? Was he scamming people being Brandon Inge's father? What's the deal? Brandon Inge, former good, very good at times, a Detroit Tiger. On the negative side of the balance sheet, Michael Toglia leads the MLB with 25 Ks and 53 at-bats. I think that makes him pretty much where he needs to be. Chisholm, Devers has kind of slowed his pace down a little bit. And Suzuki with 23. The game we play today. Isn't it fun to just sit and watch guys strike out right and left? There was a minor league game the other day where a team scored like, I don't know, 22 runs on 6 hits or something because of walks, and it's not baseball. And have you noticed we haven't heard anything about torpedo bats in the last week as Chisholm's average drops? Judge isn't using a torpedo bat. Dave Portnoy. Check the video, dude. And shut up at the same time. Go do your pizza reviews and shut up. Spencer Strider. By the way, I have some political stuff I might get into today. It's good stuff. It's not bad stuff, but it's something I want to share with my brethren on the left if I get a chance. It's just an interesting story about Bill Maher, who they're trying to cancel on the left now because he had dinner with Trump at the White House. And I thought about that because I thought about Portnoy, who's a big Trump supporter. I'm a conservative Republican who did vote that way. I'm not a Trumpster. But Dave, you can't come on, by the way, and do your little rants and raves and bash the administration when you lose, $7 million in a day because the market had a very, very bad day 10 days ago. The market's rebounding. The market will rebound. The market has rebounded from every crash with an all-time high. So just relax. You can't go there and then 3 days later come on and talk about, be consistent, dude. I hate Portnoy. That's why I thought about that. But Bill Maher had an interesting experience. Kid Rock, who's a big Trump supporter, set up a dinner with Bill Maher and himself and Dana, what's his name from the MMA, UCF, UFC, sorry. UCF is something totally different. At the White House, and he came away with an interesting perspective. He's one of the biggest Trump bashers I've ever seen, by the way, Bill Maher. Although there are some on the internet that are worse, but publicly on his show, Real Time, which I watch every week because I enjoy funny stuff, and he's a funny guy, and I don't agree with his politics a lot of times, but he's actually more of a centrist than he is, one of the woke left. But to tell you about his animosity towards Trump, he had said during the whole election that he would have, before Biden dropped out, that he would vote for Joe Biden's head if it was only being kept alive in a vat of blue liquid over Trump. But he went there and made it clear that the crazy man you see on TV, which you do, is not the man living in the White House. He went there and he brought all the insults that Trump has thrown his way, as he had his staff point out, because he wanted to go there and take an offensive approach and ask the president to sign it, and he did. And they talked about all the issues, and he talked about them rationally. He talked about the things he disagreed with him on, and there was no name calling, there was no anything. It was just, again, what you see is a person playing a crazy person on TV. That's not the guy living in the White House. I keep telling people that, and nobody's ever believed me. I don't like him. Don't get me wrong. I don't like him. But anyway, I just got on a little. Hold on. I got there. Strider teammate Spencer Schellenbach may be challenging him for the Cy Young. Strider's coming back, I think next week, Drew. I believe I saw during the week that he had a dominant start, which I think was going to be his last rehab start. So anyway, I think the Braves will be fine. Schellenbach has pitched well. The team will hit better. I think they'll be fine. April's really? Did not know this. By the way, I remember the younger people, sorry, when, this is how old I am, right? When MySpace came along, the old folks took it away from us, so we went and created Facebook. Then the old folks came, and we took away Facebook, and they went to Instagram and TikTok, and who the hell knows where else. Well, how come they've been allowed to steal pickleball from the old people, and there's no uproar? Anyway. April is officially designated as National Pickleball Month, and a new documentary, Dream Breaker, the pickleball story, takes a look at the birth of professional pickleball, which is all young people who thought this was a stupid game when old folks like me started playing it. I enjoyed the game. I believe there's a league up here semi-league, that plays up here in Clifton Park a few times a week. A friend of mine told me about it, and I do plan on, when I retire, I do plan on playing more, assuming my wheels hold up. Professional sports has to start raising the bar on their products. Tyreek Hill, this draft prospect, allegedly choking his girlfriend. He's an NFL star, by the way. Two different cases we're talking about here. Why do we give these players free passes? My support is waning. JB, I've said this forever. Character matters on teams. I don't want guys with bad character on my teams. Patriots have been pretty good about that. They brought in some guys that had character issues elsewhere, but the locker room leadership was able to overcome that. Corey Dillon, Randy Moss are a couple guys that come into mind. A couple guys that didn't work with. Ocho Cinco. Although he just couldn't play, I think more in his character. The stiff they signed on the defensive line from the Redskins who washed out. Doesn't always work, but character matters. But we see this all the time. Abusing women, carrying guns on the planes. And it's not just the NFL. It could be the NBA, but the NFL's proliferated with it. We got guys who killed 2 people at the Super Bowl. Yeah. Yeah. You remember how many games he was suspended? Oh, because, yeah, I guess maybe he didn't do it. Or did he? I don't know. My guess he was involved in those homicides. And if I am offending him or any of his followers, I don't apologize. So anyway, you got bad acts all over the place. You got a guy in Cleveland who's a massage molester. What do we call him right there, Drew? But don't let the air out of footballs because you'll get suspended and find a bunch of freaking money, man. It's a bad act. There's full of bad acts, and you're right. Your support should wane. NBA's as bad or worse. Right? MLB batting average, mean batting average 235. That's great. We keep doing all this stuff to help the offenses. Now we got torpedo bats, and they still can't hit. We eliminate the shift. They can't hit. Make the ballpark smaller. Well, we can hit home runs, but we can't hit for average. Padres 190. I talked, did you see the video? You must have seen it. I think you commented on the picture. I think, Drew, I'm not sure. The video that John Gonzalez from the great admin from the Sports Authorities posted and I don't know what player it was, quite frankly, so I'm indicting everybody on the team. He slides into third base head first and his cell phone pops out of his pocket. Dude, this is why you're the Pirates. Take your job seriously. Does anybody have any pride in their job? I mean, again, I shouldn't indict, 500 or whatever, more than that. 900. How many Major League Baseball teams are there? And 25, whatever, 700 players over one guy with a cell phone. I'll bet you anything he's not the only guy carrying a cell phone around in his back pocket. Style over substance is everywhere in sports. Stop. Can I watch good baseball? Just once. I want to see good baseball. Not once a week, every game. I've said for a long time, I love baseball. It's become a boring game. For the most part. Dodgers lead MLB in HRs with 29, but still have a 226 batting average, a true all or nothing approach. The Dodgers are going to get it together. Dodgers are going to win 100 games. They might very well win 115 games. They might make a run at the all-time record. And they're doing things within the rules, so I can't get too upset. My own organization, played fast and loose when free agency first came into play. Of course, then George fell in love with the process and nearly ruined the team. Took him getting suspended to get that fixed. Anyway, yeah. Any team that's had Max Muncy playing in their lineup as long as they have is going to be hitting 226 and with a lot of home runs and a lot of walks, right? I'm going to guess, Drew, and I could be wrong because I'm just totally guessing. And maybe I'm wrong because Freddie Freeman's been out a little bit. He's back the other night. But they probably are close to leading walks, though, too. Good morning, Sonia. I mentioned Sonia's been filling in for Mac. If I got to send Mac a message, by the way. I've had trouble connecting to I don't think we're live right now on Roku. We should be, but we're not. I've tried several times to re-add it. And this has happened a bunch of times. I don't know what the deal is. But then suddenly it'll connect on its own. So we'll see what the problem is there. I'll try to take a look at that. I don't know. If you're talking to him, you can mention to him. But again, it's not a high priority for what Mac's dealing with. So no big deal. Chris is into Formula One now. Sakir Bahrain. Formula One teams have agreed to keep racing with hybrid engines through its future regulations following a meeting in Bahrain on Friday with a return to naturally aspirated V10s. You might as well be speaking Latin to me. I don't know anything about these cars except they go really fast around a circle, and in Formula One's case, sometimes weaving through city streets. But I hope that helps whatever they're trying to accomplish. I don't know what they're trying to accomplish. Make it safer, slow them down. I don't really know. Good stuff. Chris, you are winning. You're winning, man. You are doing it. I challenged him to bring me irreverent information, and he's done quite the job with that. Great job. Very quietly, the Cubbies lead with stolen bases. 26, only one caught stealing. That's quite efficient. I've talked about this a lot. I love stolen bases. I like stolen bases. I like hitting runs. I like hitting behind the runner. I like, keeping guys moving. I don't necessarily like bunts and giving up outs. I'm kind of like Earl Weaver like that. But I like to see base runners moving. I like stolen bases. So did he. But again, the stolen base was disappearing from the game, and we had to artificially change things to increase it. Why can't we just teach guys to be better at it? Torpedo bats, bigger bases, shorter base lines, which, by the way, don't think is irrelevant because it's not. We can only throw over the first X amount of times. A pitch clock, that all it helped increase stolen bases. And I'm glad it's back in the game. Don't get me wrong. I'm just happy that it has to happen that way. Neil Bush, how are you, my friend? Good to see you this morning. And the Masters group goes off at 2:30. I was close. Going to be a heavyweight match today. Neil, I know you're a golfer. This has been, I think, a tremendous 4 days of golf at the Masters. They've had pristine weather. I don't know what the weather is today. I'm assuming it's still going to be good. You've had great golf. You've had bad golf. You've had great stories with Longer's last Masters. You had couples. Neither one of them made the cut, but couples set a record by going 42 years between his between his first under par round of golf at the Masters to his most recent 42 years. He holds a record at 42 years. It's amazing. Freddie Couples, he didn't make the cut, but Freddie Couples has made the cut a few times as he's gotten older. Freddie's old. Freddie gets that competitive fire going, and he can still play some good golf. He played 1 under on Thursday, and then the wheels came off. Roy was in the woods all right. He's been in the trees a few times, CA, for sure. But he's a great player from the trees. Did you see Homa? And I don't know if it was yesterday. I saw the video last night. Homa, who scrambled and made the cut on Friday, played some really good golf down the stretch. He's not in contention, but he was in the trees, hit a great shot from the trees, low liner, and it hit one of the guys who was trying to keep people from crossing the fairways like guys are hitting. Hit him right in the back. Oh, my God. You see some stuff at the Masters you don't see anywhere else. Go Jets. Bill Pulver's with us. Good morning, Billy. Good to have you with us as always. The Jets are going into the playoffs as maybe the favorite to win it all and maybe break that almost 35-year streak of Canadian teams not winning their national sports championship. A great regular season by the Jets. William Aikens out of Pittsburgh. Good morning, William. William, what did you think about? And I hope you're still here. How long ago was this comment? Quite a while. I'm falling like 30 minutes behind almost. Guys, when you post, don't give up and think I'm not going to post your stuff. I am. It takes me a while to get to it. That's all. William, I want to know what you think about Pat McAfee's big to-do in Pittsburgh. What was it, Thursday night? Where he, bought up the stadium. I don't know which stadium. I don't know where he did this. I know there's like 12,000 in attendance. He had a bunch of stars there. Jelly Roll, most dear to my heart, I guess. But there was a lot of rumor and innuendo that Aaron Rodgers was going to be there, and Aaron Rodgers was going to make his decision. And no Aaron Rodgers. Any thoughts on what went on there that night? I mean, maybe it was a good show. I'm not a big fan of McAfee. It's funny. I like McAfee and the energy that he's brought to Game Day on ESPN's college football Game Day. I don't like the Pat McAfee that I see every day if I turn him on in his podcast. I think it sucks. I think he's a blowhard. Listen, I'm a blowhard. I had a little disagreement with John Gonzalez about Mike Francesa on WFAN. I said he was a blowhard. He liked Francesa, and I just made a comment. And listen, Mike Francesa, in fairness to what John said, he defended him. He was a trailblazer in sports radio. Him and Chris Mad Dog Russo at WFAN, really led an explosion of talk radio in the 80s. Yes, the 80s. But there's too much of, every time he has a bad take, it disappears and he forgot he said it. Mine are all here, guys. Just go back and look. And I'm very clear. When I make a mistake and a faux pas, I tell you. I'm very strong opinionated, but when I'm wrong, I will tell you I'm wrong. So anyway, I'm curious what McAfee, if you had any opinion on the McAfee deal. Let me try to catch up a little bit here as we're getting to the 10 o'clock hour. I think Brian McGrattan once notched 541 penalty minutes in the AHL, American Hockey League. That's when men were men and so were women. Surprising the Mets lead the majors in ERA. That'll stop. Conversely, the Brewers' decimated pitching staff is amazing, but yet managed to start winning some games too. Drew. How did I get Brock? The Brewers have moved up to, after a horrendous start, 8-7, 7-3 in their last 10. Not bad. HR's given up the 25. Dodgers lead base on balls with 72. You cannot walk guys. Again, the book I'm reading about Earl Weaver, JB, check it out. Anybody who likes sport, listen, this is a great book. And it's recent. I think it was written within the last year or so. It's called The Last Manager. It's really interesting to look into those great Oriole teams. And by the way, he managed a bunch of Hall of Famers, and he probably should have won a lot more World Series than he won. But Earl revolutionized baseball in a lot of ways earlier than we thought. Padres leading shutouts with 5 in 15 games. Ironically, the aforementioned Brewers are next with 3. That's interesting. LA Knight versus Jack. Is it WrestleMania? I have no idea who these people are. I used to know all the wrestlers. Now I don't know any of them. LA Knight, is that you under a different name, AC? Are you a wrestler in your in your free time? Will be the best match at WrestleMania. I wish they built it up more. I don't know anybody wrestling. Can I buy it? Can I watch it free somewhere, or do I have to buy it? I'm sure I got to buy it. Let's see. WrestleMania, the Masters. Sorry, Masters I think is going to win. What I'm saying is the Stars may come together enough to meet the Jets in the conference finals, but I ain't challenging them without Tyler Seguin and especially Miro, Haskinen. Well, I think the West is very interesting, by the way. Again, I think there's. I thought the Blues. I know they haven't been playing well, but I thought the Blues were a team that might. And I always look for teams that might compete from the back of the field, right? And I thought the Blues might. I don't think they will. I think the Jets are the prohibitive favorite. I think you can't count out Vegas because they always play well at crunch time. The Kings, except for a year here and there, have folded in the playoffs more often than not. Maybe Edmonton this year, without the great expectations they had last year, will compete better. But we'll see. I think it's going to be an interesting playoff, and I think you could see somebody come from the West. I'm going to root with the Rangers out. I'm going to root for a Canadian team. Sorry, I know I should be a nationalist, and I shouldn't want anything to do with Canada because I'm pigeonholed as that person. I'm going to root for the Canadians, just like I'm rooting for Rory in the Masters. Because I want to see the Canadian team win their national sports championship. Oh, the college quarterback that wants to make more dollars, terrible. Yeah. They're ridiculous. I mean, I get it. I see you're talking about. I see what you're talking about. It's a never-ending story. Drew Lock convinces the Seahawks to waste more money. I got to tell you what, man, if things go bad with Darnold, and Bo Crouch, I know you're a big Seahawks fan. I do not think this is a great place for Sam Darnold. I think there's a lot of rumors I see that the Seahawks will take Sloth. I can't say his name. The kid from Louisville, the quarterback. Even though they have Darnold there and sign him to a long-term contract, I think only the first 2 years are guaranteed. Similar to Kirk Cousins' deal. And they may take a quarterback in the second or third round, but I don't know if they'll get Slaw there because he's going to go. I think he's one of the fastest risers. He could go before Jackson Dart. But man, if Darnold fails, man, it's going to get ugly in Seattle in a hurry. Ricky Henderson, Paul. It's a great question. A friend of mine threw it at me the other night. And I narrowed it down to, I knew it had to be a leadoff hitter, right? To break up 81 hitters, no hitters, it had to be a guy hitting home runs to lead off a game. So I was thinking of guys like Ricky, Bobby Bonds, Craig Biggio, Rock Raines. But Ricky played 100 years. So I guess Ricky. And that's actually a great trivia question, because if you don't think it through, you get stuck. Because I was like, 81, that doesn't seem possible. And I kind of stewed on it, and I thought, oh wait, of course, it's got to be a leadoff hitter. So, great trivia question, Paul. Cristiano Ronaldo is 40? Shit. How am I 60? Oh, wait. I am 65. Happy birthday. Belated to Ronaldo. Did he get in some trouble or something? Joe Flacco returns to the Browns to challenge Kenny Pickett. Another bad. Listen, Patrick Peterson is returning to the Cardinals to retire as well, by the way. The Browns quarterback situation is atrocious. I don't know whether they're simply waiting for next year. Flacco, they've been better off letting sleep on the couch maybe till week 5 or 6, like he did 2 years ago. Deshaun Watson's making noise about being ready for training camp, but I said his name. Hope I don't start on fire. I just don't see this team could take Shedeur Sanders at 2. I don't see it. I personally think if he doesn't get picked at 2, he's falling to 21 and the Steelers. Steelers may feel the need to move up if they really want him, but I'm not moving up. I'm not going to do what it takes to move up to 9, which is probably where you got to go to get him. If you think, because the Saints are the only team that are going to take him besides the Browns. Giants aren't taking him. I hope they do. I hope one of these teams takes Sanders, because then I got his shot at Hunter. 2 teams can't blow it on not take Hunter. 3 teams, really, because I'm going to include the Titans. But the Steelers should just sit and wait, because I don't think the Saints want him. And I don't think anybody else is going to move up to 9 to get him. So they could just sit and bide their time and get him at 21, quite possibly. Unless the Browns screw that up, and they're the Browns. So, and Patrick Peterson has had a good career, and he's going to retire at Cardinal. Major League Baseball has about 780 players. What'd I say, 700? I don't math well. Went to Perth. And Drew just about mentions it every week. I don't think it's close to 780. They get mentioned. We mentioned the ones that need to be mentioned, but is there 780? Because I can't math like that. Drew does a very good job of keeping us informed of what's going on. Ricky Henderson, thank you. I did not look ahead. I actually had that sent to me by a friend a couple of days ago. Very interesting. Great trivia question, Paul. Technically speaking, Paul spotted and censored and let up. No, it's not technically speaking. A no-hitter was in progress when he hit. So it's very popular. After I guessed the answer, I had done some research, and it's a very popular trivia question these days. So I would leave the technically part out. He broke up a no-hitter. Bill Maher's a modern day George Carlin, kind of. Yeah. Carlin's politics were a little bit different than Maher's. Bill Maher's a very funny, humorous, satirist, comedian, whatever you want to call him. He had a great show this week. He went from explaining his trip to the White House and telling the people that are trying to cancel him on the left to go F themselves, basically, because you're the people that are the problem. The people who don't want to have conversations and only want to point fingers. And by the way, this comes from my side as well. The extremes in this country are what's ruining it on both sides. Both sides. You take your share of the blame over there, please, people. You aren't these, I don't know, altruistic people that you think you are. And he pointed out these people that are all over him on the left that are trying to cancel him are idiots. And then, so he goes to his, if you've ever seen his show, he does his monologue, and he had a little different today. He did a short monologue. He talked about his trip to the White House. Then he had Steve Bannon on, who, by the way, is the craziest MFer that I've ever seen in my life. And to see him that night, anybody listening to Steve Bannon should be scared. Oh, my God. The man's a lunatic. Again, that's coming from somebody who sits on the same, theoretically, on the same side of the aisle, but doesn't have any of the same ideology. I'm a Reagan Democrat. That's who I am. But then probably a little more liberal on social issues than most Republicans. I get called a rhino. See, I get called, I catch it from both sides all the time, right? I do anything that defends the current president, and I'm called, a Trumpster and a racist and any other vile names you can think of, right? And then I defend some of the social things that I don't care about. I don't care about gay marriage. I could care less. I do have some issues on some other topics, but mostly on social issues. I'm very liberal, and I get called a rhino by the right. So I can't win. It makes me laugh. It just kills me. You like George Moore? George who? Foreman? On the other hand, Joe Mauer's broken up 3 no-hitters in the 9th inning. Okay. I would say I don't think the 9th inning is impressive. Were they all against Dave Stieb? Because he blew about 6 no-hitters in the 9th inning, didn't he? Actually, this is a remarkable stat from Nolan Ryan, by the way. Very similar to Jack Nicklaus and his major championships, right? Jack won 18. He finished second like another 45 times. Nolan Ryan pitched 7 no-hitters and lost 5 others in the 9th inning. Nolan Ryan is one of the freaks of nature in all of sports history. He's one of my favorite. He gets blasted by, and again, a lot of it is, whatever. He gets blasted by a lot of people being the most overrated pitcher in the Hall of Fame. That's a lot of horse crap, let me tell you right now. Nolan Ryan, if I had one game, I'd probably pick Tom Seaver. But I want Nolan Ryan available in that game. Nolan Ryan was a gamer. Nolan Ryan scared everybody that he pitched to. And Nolan Ryan at 44 years old beat the crap out of 23-year-old Robin Ventura, which I'll never forget. Neil says cell phones should be banned from benches and sidelines and dugouts. And schools, by the way. I agree. What are you doing? How are you focused on the job at hand if you got your cell phone with you on the bench? Not even a speaker, have it in your back pocket on the field. Good freaking grief, man. Ugh. Cell phones have become such a crutch. And listen, I'm guilty of it in certain places, but I don't sit there on my cell phone when we go out to dinner. You know what I do? I take a picture of my wife. I take a picture of my beer just so I can make a social media post, which is about all I post on social media, by the way, is pictures of beer, my wife, and restaurants we go to. And when we're on vacation, plus these shows. I hated it when we haven't been in the office in 5 years. But my people was, I got to have my full cell phone. Because I would say, what are you doing on your phone again, right, dude? And I don't bother people. If they're performing and they're hitting their quotas and whatnot, I never bother people. But when you're not hitting your numbers, you're not hitting your quotas, and you're making excuses about why that is, but then I see you texting on your cell phone about every 5 minutes, I've told them to put it away. Well, I got to have it. What if my kids call? What if you had to call your parents when you were a kid and there were no cell phones? Somebody will find them. There you go. Dave Stieb never threw a no-hitter, threw 5 career one-hitters, and I don't know about all 5, but several of those, at least 3 of those were lost in the 9th inning, I want to say. Back me up, Chris. Or correct me. Rory almost played his way out of the tournament on Thursday. Oh, his finish. What did he finish? Double-double? Thursday? He was playing really good. And the conversation, the narrative Thursday, as I was following the tournament as I could, was that, Rory, because Rory has often played himself out of this tournament in Neil's to Neil's point, often on day 1 and day 2. Well, he didn't do that. He came out Friday playing really, really good golf, and that, not came out, but middle of, I want to say late in the first 9, I think Rory really started to dial it in on Friday. Played a great back 9 on Friday. I think he's 5 under on the back, if I'm not mistaken. Again, you can correct me, Neil, but just a tremendous effort by Rory to get in this tournament and get in position to win. I don't know, Neil, and maybe you can help me out. I don't know if Rory's had the lead going into the final round of the Masters or not. And I want to see Rory get this last leg here. Neil Trails at Fantasy Baseball, Drew's Nose Pickers League. I fit that very well because I can't keep my fingers out of my nose. Neil Trails at 8-11. Rick's Trails in his matchup by the same, and Drew Trails 9-11. Keith is the only one of us winning at 12-4. Well, I'll correct this start, by the way. Sundays has been my downfall for like 2 years. Speaking of them, they've changed them. Even before the recent storms, yes, it's still a special course. However, it's also a shell of what it was. Hopefully it will grow to be again. Are we talking about Augusta? I'm not sure what we're talking about. Trees, speaking of, I guess we're talking about in the trees, right? It's still a beautiful golf course. And again, I think there are places you can tell where damage has taken a toll. But, we had a great question Friday, and you guys are free to, we got about 17 minutes left. We had a great question Scott Colby posed on Friday about Augusta National and what MLB ballparks would compare to it from a historical standpoint. I took that to mean standing ballparks, which left me a very short list of Fenway Park and Wrigley Field. So it's Fenway for me. If I was going to take it out further, it would be Yankee Stadium. It's not just a sports show on the internet without some Russell Wilson talk. The Giants don't start their offseason program for another week, but Russell Wilson isn't waiting. Start building a relationship with his teammates. Well, that's what you should do. One of the things that Tom Brady did in his and I'm sure he did this with the Bucs too. So over his entire career, was to pay his receivers way to come to him, and they would spend a week working out together in the offseason, just the receivers and him. And you can see how that paid off, building relationships. Also, learning each other's tendencies and things like that. I'm not a big Russell Wilson fan at this point. I thought Russell Wilson was one of the best quarterbacks in football for a handful of years. Russell Wilson's best days are behind him, but this type of attitude shows that he wants to, at least for now, wants to come in there and show that number one, he wants a job. I don't think the job's being given to him, although Jameis Winston should not put up that much of a fight. But Russell Wilson is a shell of a player he was in Seattle. And we'll see whether this move pays off for the Giants. Look at the Giants and Brian Daboll and Joe Shine are on make good contracts right now. I don't know what that is. John Mara has not said what success looks like. Is it 7 wins? Is it 9 wins? Is it the playoffs? Nobody knows what that means. But we're going to see soon. There's our boy, kneecap biting with the Motor City Lions. Jeremy, how are you, my friend? Haven't seen you in a bit. Your favorite Detroit Jailbird fan is free at last. Were you banned from Facebook? I've been there myself with no reason why. I'd love to know what happened, my friend. Give me an idea. I'd love to know. 784, what's that? What's that number? Is that penalty minutes? I'm still looking for that. What is 784? Help me out. So many instances to pardon your French. I know, right? Man, I'm terrible. Well, now I'm live on Roku. I don't really care on social media. I can say what the F I want. Jeremy, help me out with that 784. What the hell is that? I gotta take this in a way that's bad. Don't be offended. I can't help it if you are. But sometimes I feel like I got Well, I have it as well, by the way, because I just burst out with. My wife asked me if I have Tourette's sometimes because I just will sit there and blurt something out of context. But I feel like my audience is getting my Tourette's because I don't know what that is. Left wing and right wing both have been flipping off John Q. Public since personal income tax went into effect in 1914. That's a great point, by the way, Jeremy. Not to, again, get into a very deep topic here at 10:15, but people forget that tariffs ran this country for 150 freaking years. There were no income taxes. Tariffs are taxes. Let's not fool ourselves. Tariffs are taxes. But that's what funded the federal government for 150 years until we started putting their hand in my pocket. Well, it wasn't around 1914, but Jack Hirsch was. But again, tariffs are not new. And by the way, this whole thing, I will tell you right now, all of this bluster about, here's our list and we're going to put tariffs on countries that only have penguins living in them, which is very funny when you think about it. It's all about China. That's all it ever was about. It's all about China. Don't take your eye off the ball. Julio Terrain is 34 this year. I think we've heard the last of him. I haven't heard his name in a long, long time. What a pro career, though. The miles on his arm. It's 2025, and Julio began his professional career in 2008. Pitched with the Braves, right? If I'm not mistaken, he was a Braves prospect, I think. Not positive. What do you got, Jeremy? Where you been? Why were you in jail? I'm assuming you mean social media jail. Amen, Keith. Social media and cell phones use is out of hand. Hey, yeah, I agree. And I'm part of it. I mean, I got to look up when I need to know something. I got a text thing in. Aha, my buddy with the 81 home run question. What was I going to talk about? Oh, Jeremy. So, yeah, I'm as bad, but in certain instances, I put it away. Now, I've had my cell phone out watching the World Series at a wedding, but it's not my fault. Or NFL playoff games. It's not my fault you scheduled some silly party, birthday parties, whatever, on days there's professional football games, playoff games, World Series. I have used my cell phone, and I guess I'm not proud of it, but it is what it is. But, it's ridiculous. I see men, we go out to dinner, I see people they don't talk. They're just on their cell phones. We don't do that. I take a picture of my wife. I take a picture of my beer. She takes a picture of me with my beer. And I post it so I can show people what a beautiful life I have. Wife and life in that order. Because one feeds the other. But otherwise, I put my phone down. Correction, Neil's up 11-8. There you go, Neil. Stick up for yourself. Don't let Drew feed misinformation through this platform. What's up, CA from Jeremy? Fenway to Wrigley. That's all you got, right? Fenway'd be maybe it's a toss-up for me, but I'm going to say Fenway. As a Yankee fan, it's probably blasphemous, but you walk into Fenway and you see that. I don't know if you've ever been there, Jeremy. You got to go to Fenway one time before it gets torn down. To walk into that stadium and see that wall, and it looks like you could reach out and touch it. It's really cool. It's a really cool experience. Now, I did relay a couple of stories from trips to Fenway. We endured a 5-hour rain delay in the Cask and Flagon, which is still standing, Scott Colby let us know. Oh, seriously? Oh, dude. I'm sorry if you're serious, and if you are, catch it up. I hope. I'll have an answer for you. It's good to see you back. And I hope you're on the right side of the ledger now. Can stay there. It's a tough situation. 784 Major League Baseball active baseball players. Well, Billy was closer than me. I said 700. He's 780. It's trending. Clubs without tech devices. For example, Boardroom Cigar Lounge in Fort Lauderdale. That's what do you do? Put your phone in a locker when you go in, or it'll probably. I'm sure that there will be more cafes, clubs, whatever that do such things. Right now, to me, I feel, and I used to do a little promo when we'd go out on Saturdays. I'd always do a little remote broadcast to promote Sunday's show, and I'd say where I was, and I'd give a little plug to the restaurants. I'm trying to actually get some advertising news, but I was giving them some very good pub. I thought. Now again, you just can't use it to extreme. That's all, right? So. Everyone forgets that Biden expanded Trump's tariffs 10%. Trump's 10% tariff to include all countries importing products. Well, I haven't forgotten that, but again, it's convenient. It's convenient. Yep. So Drew has done his mea culpa. That sucks. I mean, if you have, I get it. Look at I'm gonna dive too deep into your personal issues here, Jeremy. It's very forthcoming of you to say that. If you're unable to pay due to some kind of personal situation, I mean, somebody ought to work with you. I don't know your personal business. I don't want to dive too far into it. I'm sorry I pushed you that far. I didn't really mean to do that. I didn't mean to laugh. I thought your incarceration because I thought you were talking about Facebook incarceration. So. Did you see Steve Bannon there? Because I saw him just out of prison on Bill Maher the other night. The boardroom is quite nice. So Jeremy knows the boardroom. Who brought that up? CA? We got a few minutes left. Is the boardroom what's the word I want? Is it a chain of clubs? Is it a club? Is it a restaurant? What is it? Drew went to a game at Fenway, had seats on the wrong side. There you could be bad. And I think a lot of, and I haven't been there in 20 years. And the rain delay game was in 1986. I remember it very well because the Red Sox wanted to play the Mets in the World Series. And we spent 5 hours in a cask and flag and waiting for the game to start. And we were out in the right field seats, not by the pesky pool, on the other side by the bullpen. And they were playing the Angels, and my buddy got in trouble for harassing the crap out of Don Sutton in the bullpen. Oh, my God. So he got thrown out. My buddy Mark threw himself out. The guy says, "Oh, you're not thrown out." And he just said, "I'm going to." We had fun. But I think, anyway, let me read the rest of Drew's comment here. I went to the game at Fenway. I had seats on the wrong side of the pesky pole. Apparently no one goes to the games to watch them. They go to eat. Had an unceasing parade of people up and down the aisle and couldn't see the game. One guy made 6 round trips. Yes, I counted. Now, I don't know how recent that is, but my understanding is, well, the pesky pole's still there. I mean, but they had a lot of, and I'd been there when my dad took us there one time when I was a kid. They were playing the Royals because I remember Jerry Grody was playing for the Royals then, and I got his autograph. So we got behind a girder. There used to be a lot of steel girders that, if you were just buying tickets on the internet, you wouldn't know that they were impeded views because they didn't need to tell you at the time. Pesky pole is something different. That's not going to get moved. I will tell you again, for beautiful ballparks, it's got nothing to do with your game experience. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm just talking about historic ballparks and just the aura of them. Of the ones that are left, there's only 2. Fenway's it. You walk in there, see that green monster. It's awesome. We walked right up. I think it was when I went with my dad that first time when I was a kid, the first time I went in there, and we walked up like almost at the time there was a runway up almost up behind home plate. So you came up like right behind the screen, and you swear to God, probably could. It's not that far. You could throw a baseball over it for sure. Today I couldn't. But it was really a great experience. I used to say that about Yankee Stadium as well. Yankee Stadium before the old Yankee Stadium, the refurbished Yankee Stadium. And I got to get the rest of these comments before I got to cut you guys off. You'd come out of these catacombs, and it was a dump below the old Yankee Stadium. They refurbished the outside of the stadium, but not necessarily the inside that much. So you'd come up out of these dreary catacombs, I'd call them, and they just walk out into this cathedral of green. It was awesome. It was a very moving experience. Schools are finally starting out the phone policy, yes. And why are the New York politicians fighting against it? One of the reasons to build of course, we don't need to pass budgets on time here. It's only constitutionally mandated. And they're going to go home on holiday. They shouldn't be getting paid. Well, it's a good way to be, my friend. And I appreciate that straightforwardness. Hello, Danny. Sorry you're so late, but good to have you with us. Date. We talked a lot about another one rooting for Drew. Why are we rooting for Bryson, the live bloodsucker, against Rory, who is going to win? I know it's probably a nationalism thing. I don't know. You can tell me yourself if we have time. We only got a couple minutes left before we got to wrap it up. But I'm rooting for Rory. I can't root for this. I mean, Bryson's growing on me a little bit, but I can't forgive the live thing. I'm just never going to get over the live thing with any of these guys. Decap? No, I lived in the Florida area for a bit. Oh, okay. Which is where those boardrooms are, I take it. Danny's attended 27 Major League Baseball. Only, in my opinion, Fenway, hands down, as well as fans, amazing. Good one. Great show as always. You have a great week too, Drew. I'm gonna let Danny answer my question before I go, if I can. If he's got time to type it, because I got to go in about a minute and a half or less. But we're going to start up the music and get ready to go. And Danny, if you want to give me your Bryson versus turn that too loud. If you want to give me your Bryson versus Rory. Oh, maybe it's here. I'll take it. No, not yet. Thank you, Jeremy. Good to see you. I'm glad you're on the right side now, and hope that continues. And sorry about the troubles you've undergone and under shitty circumstances, it would seem. So good to see you back. I wondered where you've been. Guys, thanks for tuning in today. Everybody for commenting. You guys make this show so much fun for me. If I ever give up the other shows, and there's times where I go, I love this show. I'll never give this one up until I'm underground. So we're going to wrap it up as I play the credits. Danny, if you got an answer for me about Bryson and Rory, I'll be happy to put it up while we play the credits. But I got to run. Keith Engle for TGI Sports Talk. It's been a great Sunday. Danny, thank you for showing up, my friend, out in L.A. Dodgers in third place. It's only April 13th.
Football season is here, and SeatGeek is my go-to for buying tickets. Now, with SeatGeek, every single ticket is backed with their buyer guarantee. We've all had plans change, and when you can't make it to the big game, SeatGeek has you covered. They're the only ticketer that allows you to return your tickets ahead of the event for credit with SeatGeek swaps. So when things come up, I know that my tickets won't go to waste. So what are you waiting for? Download the SeatGeek app to maximize your possibilities and shop live events with confidence.
You're listening to Keith Engle, the host of TGI Sports Talk on the National Streaming Sports Roku channel.